Hello there guys, Teacher Krishna here and welcome to our next class for the third unit. This is a class that is part of the high school and 9th BYS. Just like you know, our subject is biology and today we are working on week number 25. So be welcome guys and let's go over our presentation. Alright, probably you can hear some thunder outside. It's raining right now, I'm sorry about it, but I hope it doesn't interrupt our lesson. Okay, so let's continue. Remember to have your book with you in order to make today's summary. Your book and your notebook as well, both are important. And these are the parts that you need to include in your summary. Remember, date, the ending line, the title, summary, and decoration. And I want to make a special emphasis in the handwriting, that is very important. I have checked several summaries and I have noticed that the students just write as fast as they can and they don't really care about their handwriting. Handwriting in presentation is very important, guys, so make sure that you take your time and, of course, do it well. Okay, the ending line for today is the following. It's something very simple. Describe how genetic information can be used. Genetic information can be used in many different ways, just like you are going to learn today. And let me give you a summary of activities that you need to complete today. Number 1, watch this video and make a summary. Number 2, read pages 152 to 155 and complement your summary. Complete the exercises from these pages as well. So during the live session, we are going to complete the exercises from page 155. So make sure you work on the previous exercises, all right? I'm going to help you out with some during the live session. Then make an explanatory video about the topic and upload it to YouTube. So make sure you pay attention to what we're discussing about today. We're going to discuss things related to how genetics can be used. Of course, some cultural background related to the United States, some other cultural background related to Guatemala as well. So it's very important that you can get as much information as you can from the video, so then you can make a video yourself and upload it to YouTube. Your video doesn't have to be very long. Maximum, it has to last 5 minutes. Minimum, it has to last 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm just kidding. But you have to try to get to the 5 minutes. It can be a little bit more, a little bit less than 5 minutes, but it has to be in that range, okay? Then after your video has been uploaded already to YouTube, share your work by uploading pictures to Google Drive, as well as the link to your video. So in Google Drive, you have to upload the summary. You need to upload, of course, pictures of your summary, pictures of the exercises of your book, and the link to your YouTube video, so I can check it as well. Okay, so this is the rubric that I'm going to use in order to check your video today. It's the rubric that we used in the last final evaluation for the second unit, so you might have it already in mind. So you can take a look at it in a more careful way. I'm just going to go over it in very general terms. But of course, go over it because these are the specifications that I'm going to check from your video. Of course, I need a content and organization. So I need you to introduce all of the content that is in the pages that we have right there and add some extra information that you can go through by searching a little bit on Google or somewhere else. During the pace, remember, it has to be around 5 minutes. Of course, I don't want it to be 4 minutes and 10 seconds. No, it has to be very close to 5 minutes, a little bit more or a little bit less. Quality. Of course, I need you to take into consideration that quality is very important. Take your time, show that it's a professional video, not that you did it in the last minute and you don't really have a good organization, you don't have visual material to support yourself. So make sure to take your time to make the video today. And also language, delivery, and voice. I really need you to record your voice in your video so I can listen to your explanation. And of course, I need you to use a good language quality as well during the video. So the video in total is 10 points, but you can see right over here there are 8 points. Then we're going to have 2 more points for a time as well. For the time requirement, of course, you need to upload your video and all of the information before 3 o'clock today. So make sure you do it so you have those 2 points as well. The other 5 points from today's evaluation will be from your summary and the exercises of the book. Okay, so let's go over our topic for today, using genetic information. So forensic science supports the freedom of people who are only suspects of committing a crime. So whenever there is a crime scene, let's suppose that someone was killed. What forensic science is going to do is that they are going to try to gather DNA information from of course, from the person that committed the crime. DNA information can be found in many things. It can be found in your hair, in your saliva, in your blood, and many other things. Okay, so this is how scientists can actually use the genetical information from a crime scene in order to identify who the killer actually was. So, for example, if someone was only a suspect of committing the crime, and this person is right about to go to jail because the proofs are not in his favor, what's going to happen is that forensic science can actually prove that this person wasn't the guilty one. And of course, they can continue looking for the person that actually committed the crime. Or they can actually prove that the person that they have in the court is actually the killer, because the DNA of that person was in the crime scene. Okay? DNA from the crime scene is compared to the one of suspect. So DNA information can be read in order to find the person who it belongs to. And of course, forensic science is only one of the ways in which we can use the DNA information. And here's an example of what can happen. So let's say that there was a little bit of blood in this tool that was right over here, which was the tool that the killer used to commit the crime. So very carefully, a forensic scientist is going to extract the saliva, blood, or genetical material that was right here. And then they are going to take it to a laboratory in order to test it out and compare it to the DNA of other people. Okay? And what are some uses of genetic information? So genetic information is always going to be found in the DNA. And our technology has advanced a lot in the last couple of years, that our understanding of DNA has increased a lot, and scientists have been able to use it in many different ways. So genetic information can be used positively to learn about health and identify disease. In a couple of lessons ago, we learned about the Down syndrome, which was caused by a slight modification in one of the chromosomes, specifically chromosome 21. So in order to prevent those kind of disease, and in order to learn a little bit about how to cure them, scientists use the information from the DNA in order to prevent them and treat them. But genetics can be negatively used to discriminate people. So, unfortunately, there has been a lot of racism every single where around the world. So, there has been cases of racism in the United States, as well as in Guatemala, and in many other places in the world. But specifically today, we're going to talk about Guatemala and United States. The human genome. I'm sorry, there should be an E at the end. It's just that I don't know why, but for some reason my computer is in English, but then it changes to Spanish, and then it creates some autocorrections like that one. I'm sorry about it. It will be genome with an E at the end, which is the complete code of DNA, and it is 6 billion letters long. Imagine that, 6 billion letters long. It's a lot. Remember that inside the DNA we have the nitrogenous bases, adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. So the order of all of those 6 billion letters is basically the human genome. So that's pretty interesting. Scientists were able to track the full genome of humans in 2003. All right. So a couple of scientists were working on actually coding and actually finding the order and pattern that a human DNA will follow. And they were able to do it in 2003. Genetic information can be broken down into pieces for its further analysis, crimes, unknown soldiers, or civilians. So when scientists analyze DNA, they are not going to analyze the complete sequence of 6 billion letters, right? But they are going to tear it apart. And thanks to science, we have been able to find what specific segments of the DNA are going to represent things. So in this case, scientists are going to use a piece of the DNA sequence that they found in order to find suspects for a crime. Or if we're talking about soldiers and civilians that have donated genetic material before, such as blood, saliva, etc., they are going to be able to be identified in case of having them dead and no one being able to actually identify their corpses. Okay, so that'll be about it with genetic information. Now, genetic discrimination. So remember that discrimination is a term that we use whenever we are, let's say that we are not taking someone into consideration due to that person's disabilities, that person's religion, or skin color, etc. Just like you can see right over here, like they're looking for an ideal candidate, and will be just this guy right here. So if someone has a disability like this person right here, or if someone is grown up already, then they are not going to be taken into consideration. And of course, at some point in some jobs, you need a person with certain abilities for the job, right? But it's just a general example about discrimination in some cases. And for discrimination, we have to analyze the topic ethics, which is the study of what is wrong and what is right. And the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, or GINA, as it states for, signed up a law against discrimination in 2008. It makes it illegal to discriminate against individuals due to their genetic information. One more time, like rejecting someone for their beliefs or their physical appearance, and etc. That's illegal in many cases. In Guatemala, discrimination is illegal as well against people that belong to imagined ethnic. All right. So now let's go with an example of discrimination. So in the United States, it was very interesting to analyze the history a couple of years ago. So in the last century, what happened was that in the buses, all of the African American people had to sit in the back of the bus, and all of the whites will sit in the front of the bus, and blacks were not able to go to the front. Just like you can see right over here, this man is standing, and there are a lot of empty places in the front. But he cannot sit right over here because these places are just for whites. And just like you can notice here, probably the image is a little bit blurry, but it says white. And another example of discrimination is what we have had in Guatemala. So since the period of colony when Spaniards came to Guatemala to conquer the country, unfortunately, Mayans have been discriminated because they were perceived as an inferior race when they lost the war. So there were cases of slavery as well, in which they had to work and serve the Spaniards without getting paid. But after a lot of revolutions, fortunately, the human rights were actually applied a little bit more in a general sense. And even though we have more laws against discrimination, and we have, of course, more education and culture, unfortunately, a lot of Mayan people are still discriminated, and which is something terrible because actually they belong to this country and this is their land, and they are discriminated in their own country when the Spaniards are just invaders to the land of Mayans. So that'll be about it for today's presentation, guys. It's been great to have you all around here, and I wish you the best of luck in today's assignment. So goodbye, and I will see you during the live session in a couple of minutes. Always take care.